Mic check 1 2 1 2. What's good, YouTube? It's your boy Tank B Choppin', and I'm back with another haircut tutorial. Alright, so what we finna be doing on this cut is a number 4 on top with a mid fade. Let's go. So as y'all can see, guys, first thing is first, I'm just combing through the hair with my comb. I just want to make sure I'm combing all this hair out, combing down the way it lays. That way I can actually see what his hair is doing when I cut it down with this number 4 guard. So I'm taking my number 4 on my Wahl seniors. My lever is all the way closed, and I'm going over the top. And since his hair is, kind of wavy, and it is, kind of grown out, you want to make sure you go over this a good amount of times. That way you can actually get all this hair down to that desired length. And sometimes his hair is going to want to curl up, so you're going to have to keep combing it down. That way we can see how the hair looks and see if there's any longer hair that needs to be cut. So this initial process of debulking, or not even debulking, I'm lying. This initial process of taking all this hair down is actually going to take a little longer than normal. Just because, like I said, guys, he's got wavier hair, and his hair wants to curl up every time we come against the grain with it. So we want to make sure we stay combing it and we stay going, basically every which way we can to possibly get all this hair down to that desired length. Alright, so now I'm going in and I'm debulking the sides a little bit. I got my number 3 guard on my clipper. My lever is all the way open, and I'm coming up to about the parietal ridge area, and I'm floating that clipper up and away. I don't want to follow the head shape too much, because then it's going to leave this haircut looking too round. So I'm coming up and away once I get to about that parietal ridge area. And then once I do this all with that 3.5, what I'm going to do is I'm going to close my lever all the way, and that's going to make this a number 3, and I'm going to come right under what I just did. And as you can see, this part is taking a while also. For the same reason, guys, his hair just wants to curl up. We got to make sure we stay combing that hair down. That way we can actually see what the hair is doing at that finished product. When we get it to the length that we need it to be. Y'all know what I mean. Anywho, now I'm going in with my number 2 guard. My lever is closed, and I'm floating my clipper up and away, coming right underneath what I did with that number 3 guard. And if you can tell, I don't know if y'all just saw that, but on that right side of his head, his hair is going like a lot of different ways, and that did make that part of the haircut a little difficult. However, we still got it done. You just got to make sure you see what's going on with your client's hair, and you learn how to tend to it properly. So as y'all can see right there in the front towards his lineup right there, it's his hair was just going a lot of different ways, man, and it wasn't just laying down perfectly. So it did make it more difficult to fade on that side. But like I said, nonetheless, we still got it done. And as barbers, that's something we need to do. That's something we need to recognize and know how to attack. But we're going back into this haircut, guys. I'm coming in with my trimmers, my new low-cutted Babyless trimmers, and I'm setting in a bald guideline, and I am punching this line in. The reason why I'm doing it this way is I just wanted to make sure I get a sharper line, and I haven't zero gapped these trimmers yet, so I wasn't really too worried about making a super harsh line. These trimmers aren't zero gapped, they're just straight out the box, and I've been using them that way. And for the most part, they're working pretty good without zero gapping them. So I'm probably gonna keep them this way. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to necessarily zero gap all your tools when you get them. I already have a couple pair of trimmers that are zero gap really nice. So I just want to keep some just factory. That way, I can do different things with them, especially when it comes to lining up kids. Kids have much sensitive, their skin is more sensitive. So using these trimmers will work better on kids. But anyways, back to balding this man out. So we're doing like a mid fade. No, it's gonna be like a mid fade, but we're starting our guideline a little lower because I want to stretch this fade out. So now I'm going in with my Gamma Prodigy, and I'm going over everything I did with that trimmer. I'm basically taking all that down to skin, and the closer I get to that guideline that y'all see at the top of this razored area, I'm making sure that I'm flicking out and I'm relieving some pressure. That way I don't create too harsh of a line. Shout out to my boy Tito Beats, man. He's the one supplying me with all these beats. Y'all make sure to subscribe to his YouTube channel one time. Alright, so now we're getting into the actual fade portion of this haircut. I'm going in with my Wahl seniors. My lever is all the way open, and I'm setting a guideline. I'm coming up about 3/4 of an inch. You could do 3/4 of an inch to an inch, especially when you're trying to give them more of a stretched fade. So that's basically what I'm doing here. I'm coming up about 3/4 of an inch, and I'm using a slight flick out motion, and that's what I'm doing to create this next section. And then what I'm gonna do once I create this next section, guys, I'm gonna start fading downward, meaning I'm gonna adjust my lever halfway closed, and I'm gonna come up halfway into this section or right below what I just did with my lever all the way open, and then I'm gonna adjust my lever a little more closed than that. I'm gonna close my lever a little more, come right below that, and then close it all the way and attack that bottom line. So right now my lever is halfway open or halfway closed, whatever you want to call it. And I'm just coming up about halfway into that section. And as you can see, I adjusted it a little more. I closed it a little more, and now I'm coming up basically halfway into what I did previously. And then I closed it all the way, and now I'm just attacking that bottom line. And these Wahl seniors are pretty zero gap. They're not 100% zero gap, but they're pretty close. So for the most part, they're gonna get out that bottom line. And if they don't, it's all good. I can come back with my trimmers if needed. And what I'm doing now is I'm just doing some lever play within this section, just to detail this section a little bit, just so I can see more of what's going on in this part of the haircut. Now I got my number 1 guard on my clipper, coming up another section, and I'm still using that slight flick out motion, guys. You want to make sure you do that. I mean, I guess you technically don't have to, but I do it because I feel like it makes that top line easier to take out with the next step. But so I'm coming in with my number 1 guard lever all the way open. I'm coming up about 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch. Still using that slight flick out motion, and I'm gonna do the same process that I did in my previous section. I started with my lever all the way open, and honestly, I think I closed my lever all the way. But if you wanted to come halfway, you can close it halfway and then come halfway into that section and then close it all the way and attack that bottom line. But I just closed it all the way and started attacking that bottom line using the flick out motion. And basically what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna have to go back in detail because this, it leaves a little room for error, I guess you can say. So as you can see, I'm doing some lever play, just trying to detail this middle area a little bit. Now I'm going in on my 1.5 guard. My lever is all the way open. And remember, guys, we did a little bit of debulking on the sides to number 2 guard, so this basically should bring this blend together. However, I am going to detail the cut a lot more. I want to make sure I get it as blurry as I can. So I went in with my lever open. I'm just flicking at that top area, and I am coming up. I don't want to say I'm coming up necessarily another section, but I am coming up right to where I know I left off with that number 2 guard, and I'm using a slight flick out motion. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to adjust my lever close, and I'm going to come right below that. And as y'all can see, this blend is coming together. However, you can see some discrepancies in that cut. So now I'm going in with my number 2 guard. I know that I used it earlier. However, I'm just going over this. I'm just going over this step again, just to basically just detail it and get it a little more crisper and make it look a little more cleaner. And as you can see, I am using some lever play within this step. And now I'm taking that 3 guard basically to finish off this part of the blend. I know I did it earlier, guys, but I'm just going over it just so I can make sure it looks good. So now I'm doing some down fading. I'll go all the way through my steps, and when I detail, I'll come back down. So I did my 3, and then I went back down to that number 2, did some lever play, cleaned up where I felt needed. Now I'm going in with my 1.5 guard. Same thing, guys. I'm just adjusting that lever as needed, cleaning up some dark spots and discrepancies. And then I'm gonna go down to that number 1. And then I will use the 1/16 guard. Y'all didn't see me use it in my initial steps. And sometimes I don't use it because sometimes you don't need it. So I always skip the 1/16 guard, but I always come back and use it if needed. So here I am with my number 1 guard, and as you can see, I'm using the corner of my blade, and that's just helping me be a little more detailed. It's basically just doing some corner blending being a little more precise with the fade and just a little more precise with what I'm actually cutting. And as y'all can see, this blend looks a little better than it did with my initial steps. And that's basically what I do, guys. I do my initial steps and I come back down, retrace my steps, line them up, and then I go back and detail more if needed. And for me, that's what works. That's just what I'm comfortable doing. I'm not saying this is the only way that you can cut hair, but I'm saying for me, it works, and I'm gonna continue to do it because it's something that I'm fluent with. So here is that 1/16 guard. My lever is all the way open. And it does basically make it a 1, but however, I am still cleaning up some areas, and then I close my lever halfway, cleaning up some dark areas, and then I'm gonna close it all the way and just attack the bottom of that blend. Just barely attack it, use some corner blending, and just try to barely tap them dark spots. That way I don't create any lines, and I take out these dark areas and make this fade really come together. Alright, so now I'm going in with no guard on my clipper. My lever is all the way open. Still doing some of that corner blending, just barely tapping these dark areas, flicking at these lines, trying to bring this blend all the way together. I'm adjusting my lever closed as needed to make sure I get rid of these dark areas. So now that that is done, I'm going in. I'm gonna start doing my lineup, and I like to start my lineups in the middle of the head, or the middle of the line, I guess you can say. And I set my initial guideline, and I'm just following that line all the way over. And once I put this line on this side of the haircut, you're gonna actually see this blend a little better. At least I think so. You know, it basically helps put a finished product, you know, the look of a finished product without an actual finished product. So you see more of how it's gonna look when it's done. So you can go back in and detail more after this, because you can see, you know, some more discrepancies in this cut. At least with my eyes, I see discrepancies when I line them up. So that's why I do it. I put my line up and then I go back and I look at the fade. And for me, that lineup helps me see some of these dark areas better, so I can go back in and I can just attack these dark areas and clean it up even more. So I'm going in with my trimmer, just attacking these dark spots at the bottom of that blend, because obviously I feel like my Wahl seniors didn't completely take out that line. So I had to hit it with my trimmer, and now I'm going back in on my Wahl seniors, adjusting that lever as needed, cleaning up some dark areas and some lines that I may see in this cut. And I know my method is not the fastest method, guys, but I just feel for me, it works really good. And I don't want to say it's foolproof, but for me, you know, 9 times out of 10, my haircuts come out pretty good with this method. So it's just something that I've done for a while, and I may switch it up every now and then. Like, you know, even though I may not do all these exact steps in that order, but I'm basically doing the same method, just maybe my steps are coming in slightly different. So when it comes to detailing your haircuts, guys, you can be as detailed as needed. You can go back in, you know, for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. It don't matter. You know, it's all based on you, your preference, and what your clients like. Like, my clients know when they sit in my chair, if they just getting a haircut, it's gonna be about 30 to 45 minutes. If they're getting a beard trim, it's with the haircut, it's gonna be about 45 minutes to an hour. So that gives me enough time to take my time, really look at these blends, and really clean up where I feel I need to clean up, and basically just do what I gotta do to make sure my clients feel that they have the best service, and not just the best service, but when they get out of my chair, they feel like they got a really good, you know, a really good haircut. So for me, I think that's the biggest thing when it comes to barbering, because let's be honest, guys, everyone can, you know, you can cut good hair, but you may not be the busiest barber. You know, sometimes the busiest barber is the one who don't even cut hair that good, but he has good customer service. He gets his clients in and out when they're supposed to, and he's just really, you know, really good with his clients. So for me, you know, I know you gotta do a little bit of both, and yeah, man, I feel like I do that and I provide that for my clients. But anyway, I kind of talked a little bit, off topic, but going back into this haircut, as y'all can see, I'm just doing that lineup with that razor, and I'm just going over everything I did with that trimmer. I did not show the opposite side of this haircut, guys. I feel like this way it keeps me on schedule a little easier. When you record these haircuts, sometimes it takes a little longer. So I record one side, and then, I just feel that this helps me stay on track and stay on time with my clients. But anywho, I'm just hitting up that lineup with that razor, making these edges nice and sharp. As y'all can see, I got my Slay sauce. If y'all want to get this product, y'all can go to the website. I'll make sure to link it down in the description, and you can actually use my code TANK10 and you'll get a small little discount. But it's basically just some enhancements, the color enhancements. And that's what I'm doing here, guys. I'm adding them enhancements to this haircut. As y'all seen this haircut before, it didn't need the enhancements, but I decided to do it just to make these lineups just to make this lineup pop a little more, and make these lines look a little more crisp. Shout out to my boy Slay. And y'all know I don't like to put too much enhancements on, guys. I just put enough to make it look natural but still look crispier. Alright, guys, well, check it out. This is how my boy came into the shop looking. It had been about 3 months, I would say, since his last haircut. And this is how my man left the shop looking. I think I did a good job on the cut. Granted, it was a little difficult due to everything, but I think we got it done. Y'all let me know what y'all think about this cut down in the comment section, guys. If y'all like this haircut, please make sure to smash that like button. Also, if you're new to my channel, make sure to subscribe one time for your boy. Make sure y'all peep some other videos, guys. I appreciate y'all for watching YouTube. Until next time, let's go.